Hey everybody, we're here to start our Sunday live haul. I'm here with Victoria, aka Vicky, aka LV Pink Panther, aka my fiance. Show him the ring. Show him. Show him. Show him. Anyway, just let me know, guys, if you can hear us okay, if you can see us okay, so we know we're all good. And welcome. Thank you so much for coming and watching the show early. We normally do this at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoons, and I really want to keep that consistent. But we did get invited to go to a show today at one of the casinos in Vegas. I don't know. What is it?
I don't know.
We're going to see something.
Some kind of show.
Some sort of show.
Friends.
Singing, dancing, I don't know, something like that. So we wanted to go do it, hang out with our friends. So we decided we just do the show a little bit early. Oh, hey, Teresa's in the house. And Cheryl Hinton, I don't know if I've seen you in the live chat here before, Cheryl, but we are glad to see you. And I see Sin City Hustlers is here. He's here in the Vegas area as well, actually in Henderson as well, a new seller. Just been doing it for a few months, so I think that's pretty awesome. But yeah, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. We have some really cool stuff to show you today. We had some good sales this last week, and we found some really cool stuff. We did quite a bit of sourcing this week too, and we found some pretty neat stuff that I think we'll be able to give you some good info on to help you know like what to look for when you're out sourcing, give you some better ideas of kind of tips and tricks of finding stuff that's going to be able to sell for a lot.
And different things. That's what I like. We always talk about something just a little bit different every week, so that's kind of fun.
Absolutely. I mean, I know my stuff, it's like always clothes, and then the next week it's clothes, and then after that it's more clothes.
But it's different kinds of clothes. It's different categories. You're giving different tips every time. That's kind of cool.
But that's why I like having you here, because you actually do hard goods, and so you bring in like a little bit more variety.
I am cheap. I will sell anything that makes me money. So
yeah, it's true.
I have no loyalty.
Yeah.
No brand loyalty, no category.
It's true, but it's fun because I hate taking pictures of hard goods. I hate
I do too.
I hate shipping them. I hate listing them. I hate everything about them, but I do kind of like sourcing them sometimes. So the nice thing about being with Vicky is that, especially when we're out together, is that I actually get to like shop for hard goods and look for them. And if I see something cool that I think is worth money, I just go, hey, what do you think about this? And then I'm off the hook.
She's pretty good.
So then I'm totally off the hook. Hey, Kay Copsey is here. All right. And One Witch Lady, what's up? Says, I'm loving learning the men's clothes from me, Katie. I like to talk about them. So, and listen up, you guys. I seriously started doing this. I've said this before. My first sale on eBay was in December of 2015. I got into men's clothing a few months into my journey. I knew nothing about them. I started at the bins. Just buying whatever I could for 99 cents a pound. I didn't know what was worth what. I had a decent instinct for what might be worth something, but really I was starting at pretty much ground zero. And over time, just through trial and error, through paying attention to what other people were selling, to looking at what stuff of mine sold and what like just stuck around forever, I slowly started to learn like what actually was worth flipping. So really, if you know nothing about men's clothing now or nothing about any of the stuff that we're selling, that's fine. Just keep learning about it. Keep doing
brands
research.
Will start to stick in your head. Brands and styles will start to stick.
And
that's how it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really want to try and help show you guys, like last week I talked about Nike tags, and we're going to go into some other labels to help you identify what stuff is what's vintage, what's not. Anyway, all right, let's just go ahead and jump into this. And we are going to go through a few of our solds from this last week and kind of show you what they are, what they sold for, what makes them interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you.
And you can start this week. I started the last 2 weeks.
Wait, you don't like to start?
You can do it.
All right, let me share my screen with you guys real quick here. We'll see, now I had you first. Now you're throwing me off. Oh, yeah, Here we go. Share my screen. Okay, so if any of you guys watched my video earlier this week when I was out sourcing at Savers for 25% off day, there was a moment where I was showing, I was in one of the stores and I was showing a Tommy Jeans sweater that was vintage, and I was showing the tag and stuff, and I think they had a price of like $13.99 or $12.99 or something like that. I just remember it was like around $8 with the 25% off. And And I was showing why it was not worth picking up because they had a price pretty high. It really had no distinguishing features on it other than the tiny little flag down on the sleeve. And so interestingly enough, like the next day I sold a sweater that was the same tag, but I wanted to show you why this one would be worth picking up if you were out sourcing. So here's the tag, and if you did watch that video, this is an identical tag to the one that was on that sweater that I passed on at the Savers. But the difference with this one is it actually has, you know, much more interesting things going on. A lot of things around like the Tommy stuff, you know, the vintage streetwear is they want identifying features on the clothing. They want something that stands out. If you can't tell it's Tommy from far away, then what's the point, right? So we've got this kind of spell out right here, right on the chest. It's got like kind of these interesting sleeves, like the stripes going down the sleeves. It just you know, it just stands out as something a little bit more interesting. And so I actually sold this for $59.99. I had this up for a few months. I think I paid like a few bucks for it. I would definitely pay up to like $10 for a sweater like this. Because it is going to sell because it looks interesting. So you just got to kind of pay attention. And again, I was talking last week, I think, about, you know, going and researching by looking at solds on eBay. You know, if you want to look at Tommy Hilfiger, just go look at Tommy Hilfiger vintage, sort by solds, sort by highest to lowest prices, and you will start to see what stuff sells, what stuff doesn't, and for how much. I guess that's probably everything for that one. So let's go on to your first one, Vicky.
Okay, so Katie's not the only one that sells vintage streetwear. She's definitely way more proficient about it, and that's almost specifically what she sources, if not vintage, but also new streetwear and streetwear brands. But in this case, I happened to find this, and we were outsourcing together, and I found it first. So I got this on one of our trips. We went to California.
Wasn't this one like in the women's clothing accidentally?
This was in with women's clothing. I paid $10. And this is vintage. This is vintage Adidas with the trefoil, large trefoil sign in the back, which is really good. It's a good size. I think it was a large or extra large. I'm not sure which. Extra large. Yeah. So good size, big, thick, like puffer coat. It was in really good shape. No stains or signs of wear or anything like that. And I had it listed for, I think I had it listed for about 150 or something like that, but I took an offer for $100. I had it listed for maybe a month, $100 because the customer was from out of the country, international, and they paid $35 shipping. So it was a nice flip. I probably could have held out for a little bit more because there aren't too many like this, but I was pretty happy with the quick return on that. Sales were a little light this week. So yeah, I was happy. $100.
And this is an example. This tag is from the 90s. Adidas is a little bit harder to identify than Nike is a little more straightforward with their tags from era to era. Adidas, they're kind of all over the place. So you really just kind of have to get used to what the different tags look like, what they mean. And it's hard to find resources online about them. I know this one is a 90s one. And that was an awesome sale. All right, is it me now?
It's you now.
All right, here is one that I sold. So this jacket I actually got, we went to this, what was it called? Like Lucky Dog or something dog?
I don't know. Some kind of dog junkyard
dog junkies. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it was this thrift store that's here in town. It was when I first got here, and I was really wanting to kind of see what the different thrift stores were like around here, and I'd done like a Google search, and I found this one, and it's like this thrift store that they raise money for dog rescues, something like that. And so we went in there, but the problem was they had tons of good stuff.
They did
tons of awesome stuff, but everything was priced at pretty much what we would sell it for online. So there was like zero room for pricing it up and actually
full retail money. They were asking like $100 on used stuff. So
right, and so but at some point, I think Victoria found this jacket, and it was only $10. It was like, I think they were having like a 50% off sale, which even with their prices, almost nothing was worth buying. But they had this jacket, and it was only $10, and so I bought it. And this is an Air Force jacket. It's actually from Nellis Air Force Base, which is in Vegas, right? And so I went ahead and picked this up. Now, in general, I will pick up pretty much any vintage satin bomber jacket, which is what this kind of style is, this satiny material. I'm sure you've seen tons of these. Just about any of them, especially if they have like a really good graphic on the back or on the front. I will pick them up. Usually you can sell them for at least like $40, $35, $40, even if it's just some whatever, as long as it has some sort of cool graphic on it. Of course, when you find something like this, where it's actually like it's sewn on lettering and it's Air Force, it's this military jacket, then that adds value to it. I actually ended up taking an offer for this for $90, which I think is a great flip for the $10 it costs to get it. So yep, I was pretty stoked about that. We had somebody asking, I think it was in the boss group, about what you call these jackets. So that's one of the reasons why I put this up here. Like they had something that had been sitting around forever in their listing pile, and it was a satin bomber jacket. They didn't really know what to call it, so thought I would share that one. All right, next one for Victoria.
Okay, so this one is not necessarily a bolo for a brand or anything like that. This is a vintage dress. It's vintage 60s, I believe, late 50s, early 60s. Although this is a great brand, it's not something you're really going to find. You'll fall upon it once in a great while. What I wanted to highlight about this is that a lot of people are afraid to buy vintage clothing. Vintage clothing, when it is well made, it's very obvious that it's well made. They use better fabrics. They used more, there was a lot more detail in the stitching and the sewing. Things were very frequently done by hand, not done by machine, so they didn't have cheap, loose stitching. This particular dress, I have this habit of going through racks and just like feeling clothing as I'm going through the rack. And basically I could tell, but when I first touched this, that this was really nice. It was thick. It was nicely made. I didn't even know it was vintage until I started to look through the tags and things. So one of the things I wanted to mention is sometimes you'll look up vintage clothing and it won't have a tag. The sizing is always different. So it's really hard to get comps on something that's vintage. And you'll look at like a sell-through. The sell-through percentage is fairly low on a lot of vintage clothing because they're very specific pieces that speak to a very specific buyer. So I happen to really love vintage clothing, especially women's vintage, and I'm going to buy it every time I find something that is really interesting, whether it's super ugly because ugly sells, or it's really pretty. This is a very current style that works with the whole Mad Men look, which is a keyword that you cannot use, by the way, because it is copywritten. But you would call this like a wiggle dress or a form-fitting dress or even a secretary dress. It's in a current style that a lot of women would still wear, especially those that like that whole pinup rockabilly glam look, the Hollywood bombshell look. And it is also in a larger size, which is harder to find in true vintage clothing. So all of those things combined led me to this, and I put it at a pretty high price. One of the things that you'll see when you see vintage clothing is not only is the sell-through low, but a lot of people accept very, very cheap prices because it takes a long time to sell vintage clothing. I may sit on something for a year or two, and I'm okay with that because I don't have a lot of money invested in it. But I purchased this for about $5 or $7. I've had it listed for, I think, 3 or 4 months. I took an offer for it on, actually, I had it listed really high. I took an offer for it for $75.
Yep. 75.
And I paid $5 for it. So it wasn't that, I could have held out for more money at some point, I'm sure. Yes. But I happen to really like this dress, and I was happy with turning $5 into $75 all day long. People turn $5 into $25 and think it's a great sale. So, just what I wanted to say is, like, don't be afraid of the vintage clothing. You'll learn your vintage clothing. It's not always about the names, although the names are good. Certain names are very good. If you think something is well made, if you think it's nice, if you think it is something that looks desirable, chances are someone else is going to think so too. So believe in what you're selling and put a price on it that you think that you deserve to get. That's really what I wanted to say.
All right. Awesome. I would never buy any of this stuff because I don't do women's clothing, but you're good at that. So, all right. My next one is, I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Blower?
Sure.
Blower. I don't know. Anyway, so this is a police duty jacket, like security jacket. And I actually found this at one of the Savers here in Vegas. And I think I paid maybe, I don't know, probably at most $10, $15 for it. But it was new with tags. I was able to look it up, and it sold new, like pretty high price. I think if you actually bought it new, like from the website, it would normally be like a few $100s. It's a 3XL, which is a great size. And so here's the tags and everything. Now, the reason I'm showing you this, well, not only did I get a great sale on this, I believe I sold it for, I took an offer for $160. But actually, I wanted to let you guys know that you'll see these kinds of jackets everywhere. Not all of them are worth a lot. You'll see kind of like the security style jackets. There's certain brands that are worth more. Certain ones that are like the vintage. I don't know if you can think of any like the vintage ones that like
starts with an R. I have one.
Yeah, I think we
There's
both
also
have a
like
couple.
a Tuffy is another good one. Security. Yeah, Tuffy jacket or Tuff. Tuff.
And some of the vintage ones have like the faux fur collars on them. I think I have one right now that's like
I do.
I think we both have like really similar ones right now. And they tend to go for a lot. The more the more vintage ones, there's a lot that are really cheaply made and they're not going to go for a lot at all. But I just want you guys to kind of pay attention to those kinds of jackets, and if they have a tag in them that actually show a brand, go ahead and look it up in the store. Look it up and see if there's any solds, because I took like I said, somebody, I think they messaged me and asked like what the lowest was I would go on this, and I said 160, and I sent the offer and he took it and paid for it, and it's already shipped off and gone. And I made $160 out of like maybe a $10, $15 investment. So yeah, so pay attention to these kinds of jackets. And
even though they're boring looking, that's really what it is. That's a really boring looking jacket. If I were to see that on the rack, because I know a little bit more about things, I probably would still buy it like Katie. I would have at least looked it up. But it's not something that's going to stand out or jump out to you. It wouldn't to me anyway. That's a pretty boring looking basic jacket. So
this one's like a 3-season jacket. I think you can actually, you can actually take out the lining, which is why it's called a 3-season jacket. Yeah, because I think you can take out, I think the inside you can actually wear by itself. Anyway, so that's that one. And your next one, Victoria, actually somebody was asking.
I just want to answer a question. By, Cheryl asked homemade too, and I know that was to me. Yes, a lot of people were incredible seamstresses in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. A lot of people made clothing, homemade clothing. And if it's well made and it's a great pattern and great fabric, absolutely buy it. I sell plenty of homemade clothing.
Yeah. Well, especially if you have a mannequin that you can actually show how nice it fits. Right.
If you put it on the mannequin, even the half mannequins, that's great too. Because vintage clothing and vintage clothing sizes are so incredibly different than they were. They're so incredibly different than sizing is now. The sizing and the tags really mean nothing anyway. You're just going to, at best, you can guess the content if you don't know for sure what it is, and you can say that this feels like this, it feels like that. This is what I think the content is. And then the sizing, I'm always going to guess based on the measurements. I'm going to say, okay, if this is a small, a medium, or a large, or an extra large, it's based on generic measurements, and then I put the specific measurements, very detailed specific measurements within the body of the listing. And people that buy vintage clothing know that, and they know to look for that. Because even if it says it has a size 8 tag on it, a size 8 tag from the 1960s is like a size 2 compared to today's size 8. So people know that. So definitely vintage if it's well made. Not if it's all janky looking and then the seams are all jagged, then no, probably not. But
yeah. All right. So what are we on to? Here we go.
Okay, so this is a brand that a lot of people are not familiar with, although some of you may be. Jam's World it's basically a resort wear, Hawaiian style, bright patterns and fabrics and colors. It's almost always made out of rayon or silk. This particular set is vintage Jam's World. The vintage tags look like this, basically. And they still make, currently, they still make.
And vintage as in when was it?
This was late 80s, early 90s. And usually made out of rayon, and it's just popular resort wear. The dresses, Hawaiian style shirts. This happens to be a pantsuit type of thing. It's loose, it's comfortable, it's bright, it's crazy, loud, ugly colors. People love them. In any case, once you open up and look at the tags on the inside, they generally have a pattern that is listed by the name on the tag, and people will look that up. So I generally put the pattern name in the title as well. I paid $2 for this at a garage sale. It sold for $62 fairly quickly. I think it was listed about 3 weeks.
Nice. It is crazy looking.
Yeah, I mean, I would never wear something like that, but clearly people do.
Do you think I would?
Yes, probably you would. But you'd wear them separately and with something equally hideous matching. So
how dare you? Yeah, probably. That's true.
It's true. You know it.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my last sale that I wanted to show, and this one I'm like the most excited about. It was a ridiculously awesome sale, and so here it is. This is a the Cult Tour T-shirt from 1992, vintage T-shirt. I sold it for $179.99, and I'm
What?
pretty stoked about that. I bought this T-shirt. And we went to the Victorville Salvation Army. This was in January, mid-January of this year. They were having their 50% off sale, and I think I paid maybe $1 or $2 for this T-shirt.
Maybe.
And it's just, you know, it's a single stitch, early 90s tour T-shirt. The Cult is a big band that has a cult following. But there are people who are pretty hardcore Cult fans. And this is a very specific tour. I mean, it's like it only has 5 dates on the back, so it's not even like a huge nationwide tour. And so anybody who collects this kind of stuff, this is going to be like a piece that's going to stand out to them. You know, it's worn, it's faded. I put that in the description and everything, and it sold for $180. So I was super excited. What's funny is I actually went to, I think the day that I sold this, I had to go to Costco to buy more bins for my inventory. And you know what happens when you go into Costco, you end up buying a whole bunch of stuff that maybe you don't completely need. And I ended up, I think I spent like $70 just on work stuff, but then the rest of the stuff is just household things. I spent like $200, and then like an hour later, I got the sale. So I love it when something like that happens, when you spend some money and then all of a sudden you sell something that pretty much covers the whole cost. So anyway, yeah,
it's a good deal.
Probably one of my biggest T-shirt flips. I've had a couple others that have been pretty high up there, but this is a big one. So I was very excited. So always, always, always be looking for, anytime you see any kind of band T-shirt, especially one that has like dates on the back. Oh, Melissa Cape wants to know what I refer to, what I'm saying when I say single stitch. Let me show you real quick. So single stitch, this is just one way to kind of verify that something is a legitimate vintage piece. Now, some older shirts are going to have double stitch, but look at the bottom. This is, if you look at basically the hem of a shirt, if you're wearing a T-shirt right now, if you have one handy and you look at it and it's like more of a modern T-shirt, you're going to notice it's a double stitch along the bottom and on the sleeves. But a lot of vintage T-shirts will have a single stitch. Now, vintage T-shirts can have a double stitch, so it's not like a surefire way to know. But if you are, let's say you find a shirt and it's a band's T-shirt and you think it's a vintage T-shirt and you look at it and it has a single stitch along the bottom, it's a good sign that you have a legitimately vintage T-shirt and it's not just a reprint. So it's just one way of kind of verifying whether or not what you have is an actual vintage T-shirt. So anyway, so yeah, so always be looking anytime you see if it's whether it's a band you're familiar with or not, or an artist that you're familiar with or not. Tour T-shirts, especially vintage ones, are the ones that can potentially be worth a lot of money because fans are big collectors. Okay, so did you have something to say about that?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope, it's good.
So then we have Victoria's last sale for the day, or for the week.
Yeah, so this one I can thank Katie for, actually. Golf shoes. I don't generally buy golf shoes. So, and I know that some of them sell for a lot, but some of them don't. And not knowing a darn thing about golf, I usually don't go there. So these happen to be at an estate sale we were at. I paid $3 for them. Katie said, you should grab these. They have the original box. I was like, yeah, they're golf shoes. I'm like, all right, but for $3, I'll buy them. I knew they were vintage. I could tell they were vintage just by tags and by the box and things like that. But yeah, so they sold within a week for $107, $107.76. They sold within a week, and I paid anywhere from $3 to $5 for them. So golf shoes are good. Vintage golf shoes are even better because I started to look these up, and this happened to be a very small size, 8.5 wide. It's kind of specific. If they had been a more popular size, I probably would have listed them even higher. So, and sold them for more. But those particular wingtip looking ones, the fact they had metal spikes, all that stuff that was going for it, they sold pretty quickly and for a good amount. So I was kind of psyched about that.
I mean, they were barely used. There was like a little bit of grass right here on the thing,
I know people will be like, "Oh, you didn't clean them." No, I didn't.
But really, I mean, you can tell they weren't used very much. Like maybe this guy went golfing in them one time.
I don't clean my shoes. Let me just tell you that. Everybody that talks about they wash every article of clothing as it comes into the house. No, I don't do that. I wash it if it has a smell to it, if it has a spot on it, or if it looks dirty. That's when I'm going to wash it. Otherwise, nope. Because if you buy something used, aren't you washing it before you wear it? I know I am. So why am I going to waste my time? Time is money. And secondly, shoes. Do I clean them before I list them? Very rarely. If it's something, yeah, those probably could have been cleaned. The bottoms were a little bit sketchy, but I really don't. I don't bother to clean them unless I think they're a really nice leather shoe and I'm going to polish them up, or they're those really couple $100 expensive tennis shoes that I picked up last week, the Pumas and the what were they called? The DC ones or whatever. And I cleaned those and, as best as I could to make them look a little nicer. But for a normal pair of shoes that I'm flipping for 30, 40, 50 bucks, no, I'm not going to.
I don't know about you, but I think these little grass tufts are highly desirable.
Hey, they could have been vintage grass. It could have been from a really exclusive golf club.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. You don't know.
You don't know.
All right. Cheryl she's asking about the t-shirt, if that helped confirm it wasn't bootleg since you had no tag. Okay. So here's the thing about t-shirts. Like band shirts that are bootlegs, generally they're ones that are being sold like in a parking lot. And it's like, people go to see a big show and there'll be people out in the parking lot that have all these fake t-shirts that they just want to sell. They're flipping them, they're selling for like $10 in the parking lot or whatever for people that are there for the show. Generally, they're not going to have anything on the back. They're just going to be whatever the front print is. They're not going to have like date specific stuff on the back. So yes, it helped that, first of all, that it was vintage, that it has like the actual dates on the back, that I was able to find other, a couple of other shirts that were the same as this one that have been sold in the past. There's a lot of different things you can look for. Sometimes they will, have like a date on the actual shirt. This one doesn't, but that is
copyright.
Yeah, like the copyright. But
not
overall,
always,
not always. But generally, it's the same thing with a single stitch. There's little clues that tell you whether or not something is legit. This shirt, this isn't, they wouldn't have made a fake shirt like this with the dates.
So it's so obscure that it probably isn't something that would have been bootlegged anyway.
Yeah, and this definitely wouldn't have been like a parking lot t-shirt at like one of the concerts. Like they just wouldn't make them to look
not
like
that
this.
Specific with those dates.
No. So there's different things that you can look to, clues that will tell you that you're good to go. All right, so that is it for stuff that's sold. So I'm going to stop my screen share now. All right, we're back, guys. And all right, so we have a few things. What did we do this week? I went to Savers on Thursday, and then we went and we did some garage sales on Friday, right? And we had a little bit of a rough time with that because seriously, we went there was supposed to be this community garage sale that had like at least 10 different addresses on it. And so I was like, oh, great. We're going to go to this one place. We're going to be able to go to all these garage sales. And the sale was going Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We went there on Friday and only like one of the houses was actually participating that day. It was
stupid. They should have advertised that it was the weekend.
And we'd driven pretty far out.
So it was way across town.
We were feeling pretty discouraged because we only had like a few hours to like go out and shop. And for Victoria, it's like garage sales are kind of where she really finds a lot of her really good stuff to sell. So she was really frustrated. And so we ended up we had this other sale that we wanted to go to that I had found. And that one ended up kind of being the saving sale of the day because you got like a bunch of stuff there. And then yesterday,
that was an estate sale, and they had tons of really good stuff. Some stuff was priced way too high. I wish I'd had time to go back. Actually, today was the last day of that sale. We don't have time.
It took like 3 trips to get everything out to the car. We got a lot of stuff there. And then yesterday we went they have this huge thing. It's called like the Great Garage and Antique Sale, and it happens at the Silverton Casino. And basically it's like, it's in the parking lot, and it's really, really big. It happens twice a year, and like tons of vendors. I don't know. There's probably like over 100 vendors.
Probably.
It's basically
they make a booth or tables.
Yeah.
It's a big flea market basically, but it's generally good stuff. I mean, there's at least 75% of it is really good stuff. I don't know if they vet the vendors before they end up there or not, because lots of times when you go to these things, 50% of it's junk. But a good 75% of
Yeah.
it is really good stuff. Household goods, antiques, collectibles. And some of the stuff is priced way too high because obviously they're trying to get full retail for people that want to buy something for their own personal use. But there are still deals to be found. And I usually do very well there. Yesterday I only picked up a couple of things personally, but Katie did well.
Yeah, and I honestly, there was only like, I think there were only like 2 or 3 things that I wanted, but they were priced way, way too high. Like there was like this Letterman jacket and they went $85. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not paying that much. But it was a really cool sale. And what I liked is that it was open to the public at 8 o'clock in the morning for free. But if you went at 6:30 and paid $5, you could get in early. And we were done by about 7:45. Like I'd already gone through all the places. I mean, for me, it's a lot faster because I'm just looking, is there clothes? Is there clothes? If there's not clothes, I move on. And so I was able to go zip through really quickly and buy everything that I wanted to buy. But I thought it was a pretty fun sale. Then we went back out to that same place where all the garage sales were. And most of them were a bust. And we were kind of like, oh man, did we drive all the way out here again for nothing? Again. And but we did end up finding, you found one thing that we're going to be showing today. So that's
one thing made it worth it.
That's totally worth it. So all
right, so
people are talking about being too cold for garage sales where they're at. Yeah, here it's pretty much
never too cold.
Every weekend it's garage sale season here.
Yeah, they slowed down quite a bit. December, January, February. There may only be a handful of them, but it's never that cold, so there's almost always a few to be had. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
you want to start? You go ahead.
Sure. All right. So this is one of my finds from yesterday at the Great Garage Sale. This is a vintage hard rock denim jacket, kind of like an acid wash, and it's from Tijuana, which is what I thought was cool. It was not a really common one. It's a good size. It is, let's see, it's made in Taiwan, and it is an extra large, and it's in really, really good shape. I paid $15 for it. I'm going to list it for about $100. There are a couple, but not too many from Tijuana, and none this size. And you know, also I may sit on it for a little while, but I think it's a pretty good one. It's got like this vented back, so that's kind of cool. It's just
interesting.
It's definitely vintage. And it's got a good embroidered satin patch on the back. No stains, no wear. It's actually
sweet acid wash.
Great shape.
Very nice.
I'm psyched about that. And you want to keep going for a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead and do that one.
Okay. So this was another garage sale find. This was Tommy Bahama. And again, Tommy Bahama is one of those brands that is so overdone that unless it's something fantastic, it's probably not worth picking up. Everybody thinks Tommy Bahama is a great high-end brand. Yeah, it is if you're going to buy it brand new for yourself. You're going to spend too much money. But unless it has some spectacular pattern or it's like a 6XL or something like that, I wouldn't necessarily buy it. What I do suggest buying is anytime you find the ones with the big embroidered something on the back, something interesting that's embroidered, I would suggest buying it because we will sell those. Or if it's a like a major league football or baseball or something themed or limited edition. This particular one happens to be a limited edition. Paid $5 for it at a garage sale. It was still in the dry cleaning hanger. It's perfect condition, and it's an extra large. I'll probably sell it for $60-$75.
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to find tons and tons and tons of just the plain Hawaiian shirts of theirs, and generally it's like, unless you're paying only like $1, don't bother, because you're really not going to be able to sell them for much more than
you can sit on them for for a while. You can sell most of them for around $30 or $40.
That's pushing it. That's pushing.
But you'll sit on them for a while unless it's got a great pattern.
Yeah.
Or it's a big size.
It's a really overly saturated market. There's a lot of them out there,
right?
So and they're just not as exciting anymore. So anyway,
here, you do a couple.
I'll do a couple. Okay, so I'll show you the first thing I found at the big garage sale at the Silverton. So, as you guys know, I like to talk about my Screen Stars. So here's the tag. Screen Stars. This is an old school one. This is mid-'80s. Okay, this is what's awesome about this. First of all, it's a Super Bowl t-shirt, and it's not just a Super Bowl t-shirt, it's Super Bowl champion. So it's San Francisco 49ers, and it actually shows the score of the game on it. And it's from 1984. It says on the shirt right here, but the game was in 1985. So you can see that on there. So here's the deal. This one, so it's legit 80s vintage t-shirt. It is in pristine condition. I'm pretty sure the people that sold to me, they were saying that it was dead stock. I'm pretty sure they're right. Dead stock just refers to a vintage piece that is new, because you're not really going to call it. It's not new like it was made yesterday, but it's called dead stock because it's just basically
another
been sitting in
example of
storage.
single stitch.
Yeah,
That's
so single
probably a little
stitch.
easier to see.
See if I can get it in close there. Yeah, so that's a single stitch. Also, this is referred to as a ringer tee, where when it has like the different color on the collar and on the cuff, the sleeve, and so that's really popular, especially with vintage stuff. I mean, this is
just Joe Montana days. You're right.
Yeah, this is just an awesome, awesome t-shirt. Now, I spent probably more on this than I've ever spent on a t-shirt to flip. They wanted $25 for this. They had a few other items in their booth that were cool, but were way overpriced. This was a pretty high too. However, I feel like I'm going to be able to sell it for at least $80. I'm thinking like 80 to 100 because of the condition that it's in. I know that there was like a Super Bowl t-shirt that's from like 1981 from the 49ers. It sold for $75, and it wasn't as cool of a shirt as this one, or in as good a condition. So I think all the factors coming together, I think this is a really nice shirt. I'm going to be able to do a great listing and hopefully get $100 for it. So I paid $25, which hurt a little bit, but I think it's worth it. All right, you guys over there arguing about football now? Sportsing. We don't really follow it, but I will sell it like crazy. All right, so the other thing, so I talked about, showing you guys differences in labels and how to identify when something's vintage or not. And so what I have for you today is Nautica. So Nautica is a really big streetwear brand that the 90s stuff sells really well. Again, go to eBay, do a search for men's vintage Nautica jacket, go to sold and sort it from highest to lowest price, and you are going to be able to see like the stuff that sells for a lot. And it's a lot of stuff that has a spell out, has the color blocking, stuff like that. But if you want to be able to identify like which ones are vintage and which ones aren't, I'm going to show you. So I have a jacket right here. This is not vintage, first of all, just a pretty average plain jacket. It does have kind of the little bit retro. Some of the vintage jackets have like this pattern, this little graphic on the side, the sailboats, the yachts, racing yachts or whatever. And some of them, I think the vintage ones tend to say like J class or something like that. So it's a little bit of a retro jacket. This jacket, maybe I can sell it. I actually don't have it listed yet, but maybe I could sell it for $30, $40, maybe. It's not a very exciting color. It's pretty bland. But this is what the tag looks like. So Nautica. This is not vintage. This is their current tag. And you'll notice that it's all capital letters. Okay. So that's what that looks like. Now, this is something I just got at Savers. This is, I generally don't pick up even vintage Nautica polo shirts, but this one, because of the color on it, which is awesome, I did grab this one. This one, I might be able to sell for about $40. And it has the old kind of logo graphic thing right there, the boat. If you've seen like the more current Nautica stuff, it's a very different style of little crest on the shirt. But this is what the tag looks like. Now, remember I said the other one was all capitals. This one is all small letters. And that's what the old logo looks like. It's kind of white and it's got like the little orange dot for the eye. And so this tells you that this is a vintage Nautica shirt. Again, this one's not going to go for a ton, 30, 40 bucks. But I paid like $2 for it. So it's a good flip. And so always be paying attention to those tags and you'll know when you have a vintage one or a current one. So Vintage Moon says they never pay attention to Nautica, but did just notice the solds on eBay. Yikes. Yeah, actually, I think Nautica was one of the things that first clued me into streetwear in general, because I found like a Nautica jacket at the bins when I very first started out. And I just grabbed it because it was a cool looking jacket and had like the spell out on the sleeve. And so when I went home and researched it, I was like, holy cow, like that is selling for a lot. Like those jackets, they can sell for like minimum $100, like usually like around 100 up to 150 for the really, really, really cool ones. I mean, there's definitely other vintage ones that maybe you'll only get 60, 80 bucks for. But again, go do your research and look at what sells and what they're looking for. So, all right. You want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so picked this up at a garage sale for $5. It was a pretty crappy garage sale, but they had one decent thing, and it was in a plastic bag, and it had never been used. So it is a huge vintage Harley Davidson pillow. It's a throw pillow, and it just has like this big 3D graphic. It's not like 3D design, but this big, you know,
That's awesome.
Screaming Eagle thing on it. Just a basic pillow. It's super clean and hard and like whatever. It is the fabric. It does have the date and the copyright on it. So I'm gonna sell this for probably 40 or 50 bucks. I paid $5. Nothing too exciting, but I thought it was kind of cool. It was different. I like old Harley stuff. Let's see. Okay, another brand to look out for, a different garage sale on Friday. I picked up a pair of John Barbatos boots. If you don't know that brand, I suggest you look it up. It's a high-end designer men's clothing and shoe and boots, and they do collaborations with Converse and Affliction and different types of brands here and there. It's kind of like a funky rocker look to it, lots of beading and things like that. So this is a faux snakeskin boot. They are pre-worn, but they originally retailed for $500. I paid $5 at the garage sale. They're a good size, and John Barbatos actually retains some real good resale value. I'll probably sell them for about $175 to $200.
Super nice. Kay Copsey said she doesn't like selling clothes, but some of these are making her change her mind. Here's the thing with clothes. I know, you know, for some people going into it, they don't really like doing it. What I really like about selling clothing is it's easy to get into a rhythm because it's all kind of the same. Like you know, you take your pictures using the mannequins and then you lay it out and you measure it and then you go and list it. You don't really have to change your setup. When I was doing hard goods, it's like I would have to figure out, okay, how am I going to set this up? What am I going to photograph? It's like T-shirts, front, back, tag, done. Measuring the length and then across the chest, done. It's
hard
like,
goods do take longer to photograph, clean, prep, list, yes, all of that.
And I like getting into like a rhythm. I like having like, okay, it works this way, this way, this way, you know, just being able to do that. And so for me, it's like I'm able to get a lot more done. And when I would do hard goods, it was just like a pain. And the same thing goes for shipping. Shipping, it's like for the most part, unless I'm shipping shoes sometimes are a little more challenging depending on what size they are. But when it comes to T-shirts and jackets, it's like I put them in a bag. Every time, put them in a bag. That's all. It's pretty much all it is. It's just so much easier.
I clearly like to buy crap that's difficult to package and ship because I do. But I'll tell you what, because I do buy the stuff that's difficult and heavy and a pain in the neck to ship, I can buy it super cheap and people will buy it from me because a lot of people avoid selling those type of things.
That's
so
true.
I get my best ROI on hard goods. They might be a pain in the neck to package and ship, and I curse my way all the way through it, but I'm very happy when I look at my bank account. So
yeah. And I just know that if I don't like what I'm doing, then I'm going to put stuff off and I'm not going to do it. And it's just not fun for me.
I like the money enough that I continue to do it. So
yep.
There you go.
All right. Okay. So what do I have next?
Somebody's talking about the mobile checker. Yes, the mobile checker has been wonky for weeks now. It's a pain in the neck. The best thing I can suggest is doing what Katie does and just adding in the HTML code into your the mobile code into your HTML of your listing.
Yeah.
And that can be found by Googling it or ask the question, and we'll find it later for you. But ask the question in the boss group.
Oh, and Kay says that her problem with clothes is that she despises ironing. I actually steam mine.
I don't iron anything.
I do not iron. When I very first started doing clothes, I didn't have a steamer yet, and I would iron them. Oh, talk about making myself want to like commit suicide. It's like, it was like the worst. But I have a steamer now, and I even steam my T-shirts. Like, she thinks I'm weird because I'm like,
sometimes I'll spritz it with water or throw it with a damp towel in the dryer if it's really bad. But for the most part, no, I don't care.
I like my pictures to
and
be,
I know I should say differently. Oh, make sure you prep it and it looks beautiful and perfect for listing. If it looks passable and you take good photos. I've never had anybody complain because my photos were wrinkled or my item that they purchased was wrinkled ever.
I don't like having wrinkles in mine. I want mine to stand above everybody else's stuff, and that's how I can demand the higher prices that I do. So for me, I actually, again, it's about setting up a rhythm for myself. I'm actually able to do it pretty quickly. And like she even commented the other day that I'm able to take my pictures a lot more quickly. Really good pictures, even though I'm steaming it. So
someone else had a question about the John Varvatos spelling. It's John, John, Varvatos. It's V as in Vicky, Arvatos. I hope that helps.
Yep. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is maybe a brand you've never heard of. I didn't know about this brand for a while. It's called Kappa. I'll show you the tag. Kappa. And their logo, which will make it stand out to you, is this. It's basically kind of like those mud flap girls. Like you see the trucks with the mud flaps that have the girls on. It looks kind of like that. And so this is a sweatshirt, kind of pullover jacket type thing with half zip. It says, what is it? Cosenza. Where is that? Is that like in Italy or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, so Kappa, I didn't know about this brand for a while. And funny story, I used to source, when I would source in Oregon, there was this one store I went to like every single week. And I'd go through like the track pants. And I remember I kept seeing these track pants that had the strip all the way down the side. And it was this logo all the way down the side. And I just thought, oh, that just looks tacky. It's just like some trucker pants or something like that. And I just thought it looked ridiculous. But the more I saw them, I'm like, I should just look that up. And then I happened to see like a YouTube video where somebody was talking about the pants and how they go for like 40, 60 bucks at least. And of course, I'm like, oh, great. So I go back and are they there? No. They'd been there for like a month and a half at least. And the second I went to go look for them, they weren't there anymore. But now I know better. I don't see this brand very often, but when I do, I grab it. I don't know how much this exactly will go for. I haven't been able to find the exact same one. But I would say anywhere from about 70, 80 bucks, I think I should be able to get for this. They were wanting 15. This was at the big garage sale. I asked if they would take 10. They said yes. So I got it for 10 bucks. And yeah, definitely one to look out for.
Yeah, it looks like Italian colors. So
yeah, there's Italian flag
on it. I'm sure. It's
so yeah, so anytime you see this tacky little thing, make sure you grab it because they definitely go for a lot. And again, just go look up Kappa on eBay, sort by highest to lowest on your solds, and you'll get an idea of what kind of stuff sells. All right. Did you want me to go again, or
how many more you have?
I got a couple.
Okay, I have more than a couple, so it depends on what you have.
Okay, well, I'll show you. So
want me to cut off?
I'm going to do racing jackets real quick. Racing jackets. I'm sure you've seen jackets like this. This particular one is Kevin Harvick Racing. This is the back. It's kind of like a satiny jacket. What's awesome about these is the sizes. This particular one is a 3XL, which I was pretty stoked to see. And then I have pretty much a matching one, only red. This one's 2XL. These ones, they don't go for a huge amount. I mean, they go for, I think I can probably get $60 to $80 for them. I paid 20 bucks a piece. The guy was wanting 25 a piece at the big garage sale. I offered him 40 for 2. And he said, all right. I think because of the size and because they are pretty much brand new, I think I should be able to get $60 to $80 for them. They're really nice jackets, but the racing stuff, always be on the lookout for the racing stuff, but make sure you look them up because there's a lot of them that are just kind of like churned out and you're going to maybe get like $30 for them. So it really just depends on the size, the condition, who the racer is. But these were a good score. These are really popular right now. Again, with the streetwear going on right now, it's like racing it doesn't necessarily make sense, but it's kind of like part of that whole culture is like these racing jackets like this. So be on the lookout for them. All right, go ahead.
All right, so I have talked about this brand a couple of times. I don't know if I talked about it on our show, but I've talked about it before on other shows. But there are things you should be looking for when you're looking in the linens department. And one of the things you should look for are these big, ugly, tacky blankets with animals on them. This particular one is by a company called Beaterlack. There are two big companies, San Marcos and Beaterlack. They're acrylic blankets. They're really from the 70s, although some of them are still made. Picture this on you, like if you're as old as I am, like your junior high or high school boyfriend's bed in his mom's basement. This is what this stuff was like. tacky, ugly, but people love them. Now, the older ones are made in Germany, West Germany, or the United States, and they will sell for anywhere from $50 to well over $100. I've sold some colored ones for like brightly colored ones. They're usually reversible. Most of them you're going to find are in the brown and beige family, but I've sold them for a couple $100s before.
Do they make T-shirts?
They don't make T-shirts. So anyway, thank God they don't make T-shirts. Jeez. So I paid $3 for this one at a garage sale. This is an older Biederlack. It is West Germany. I've sold a ton of them. So I will list this one. This particular one I did not see listed anywhere. This face of this lion. I'll list it for about $100 free ship. Maybe I'll sell it for between 60 to 80. Maybe I'll sell it for 100. Who knows?
Okay, Cheryl says she has 7 of them to list.
Why are you sitting on money, girl?
What are you doing?
They're a pain in the neck to photograph.
Still, okay, it's still cold in some parts of the country, so get those listed now. Come on, 7 of them, ridiculous.
And one witch lady, yes, Biederlack still makes stuff. So Biederlack went from West Germany to the United States somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s as far as manufacturing. I think they're out of Cumberland, Maryland, if I'm being very precise.
One witch lady says I could turn one of them into a coat.
No. Why are you encouraging her? Why are you encouraging her? You're rotten.
Anyway, Lorna says she's never found one of those in the wild. I never came across them in Oregon either. But here's the thing: I didn't look for that kind of stuff. So.
I find them all the time, and I find them all the time in Vegas, and I found them all the time back east when I lived back east. And I've been buying those and selling those and talking about them for, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years. They sell well. Of course, there are a lot of companies that still make that style, and they're a very different feel. Once you figured out what the Biederlack and the San Marcos blankets feel like, you'll be able to tell their very distinctive feel compared to the newer ones that are a little bit more plush. They feel a little bit more like a soft teddy bear. And the newer ones are not worth crap. So you really have to know your difference between them. And a lot of times the tags are going to be missing, faded, or cut off. So that's something you're just going to have to learn by experience, by touching them and stuff. So I've got a couple more little things, and then I'll end, and then Katie can go, and then I'll end with my 2 big things. So this is something I picked up for $2 at a garage sale. Just a vintage Merlin. It's a handheld electronic wizard game.
I found this.
She did find it.
Because I'm nerdy.
Well, I was looking through the other box. I hadn't gotten there yet. But yeah, so I paid $3 for it. It's in the box. It is working. It has the instruction manual. It is used. It's just this red little toy. Looks like almost like a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to sell this. I paid, what did I say, $3? I paid $3. I'm going to sell it for $50, $60. So that was a nice little score. A lot of vintage toys don't have a lot of value anymore. At least it's the newer 90s and such. But I like toys from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and that one's from the 80s. Now this one I picked up at the garage sale yesterday. I don't know if you guys can see why I picked it up. It is a complete game. It is from 1977. There are a couple of different board games versions of the Pink Panther. I could sell it and list it and sell it for about $30 to $40. But I'm probably going to keep it. I don't collect everything Pink Panther, so please know that. But some things I think are kind of cool. I've never come across this before. So this is going to go probably on display somewhere in my office.
Very cool.
So I thought it was cool. I paid $2 for that.
All right, I got a couple more things. I'm going to try to go quickly because I don't want to keep you guys too much longer past 2 o'clock.
Right, and I have 2 more things as well. So,
yes.
And they're the 2 good things. We made you wait.
Yeah. So one of the things I got was when we were out, actually that first day when we hit those garage sales, it was mostly a bust. But I grabbed this. This is a vintage bomber jacket, flight bomber jacket. Now, this one, you're going to see lots of these. These are really popular right now. You're going to see lots of really cheaply made ones, lots of ones that are, just kind of just either, what do you call it, like reproductions, stuff like that. You're gonna find lots of really cheapo ones. They sell a ton of them at like Burlington and Ross that are really thin and lightweight and just clearly not very good quality. This is Alpha Industries. Now, Alpha Industries, they have a history. They've made a lot of these for the military specifically. You can see this is like the military tag. You can also see a date on this. I think it says 88. So this is a vintage 80s. So this is a legit military one. These are called MA-1 flight jackets, most likely Air Force. This is in pretty good condition. Now, Alpha Industries also makes these types of jackets to sell to the public and have for many, many years. I think if you've watched any of my videos, I talked about these particular Alpha Industry jackets I bought last fall from Ross. I ended up buying they were yellow ones. I bought, I don't know, like 15 to 20 of them, and I've sold almost all of them. So they just make really good quality, heavy, kind of military style jackets. But this is like a legit, this is like Top Gun
legit
era,
bomber jacket.
80s bomber jacket.
It totally looks like something Tom Cruise wore in the Top Gun movie too, just so you know.
Yeah, so
don't use that as a keyword.
No, do not. That is keyword spamming, guys. Just so you know, if you're ever going to use a keyword like that, it has to legitimately be coming from. So, for instance,
it has to have come off.
Let's say you found a jacket and it was the actual one that Tom Cruise wore in the movie Top Gun. Then you could say Tom Cruise Top Gun flight jacket. Otherwise, you are just keyword spamming. Even if you say like Tom Cruise's
especially
jacket,
if you say like,
yeah,
it's awful.
So don't do it. All right. So I guess the name of the day is bomber jacket. So I was teasing the jacket that I found at the garage sale, the big garage sale at Silverton Casino. I think I showed you guys this much of it. I saw this from across the parking lot, and I got real excited because I didn't know exactly what it was. But
I'm pretty sure I pointed you toward that.
No, we were not together. We were not together.
Because I saw it.
She's trying to take credit. No, I had seen her go buy it, but she did not go get it. But we were not with each other when I found it. So anyway, this is, show you the emblem. This is the Athletics.
Oakland Athletics.
Athletics. It's sewn on the back. Really nice quality. This is a Chalkline jacket from the 80s. And Chalkline's actually part of the starter company. It says Made in USA, XL. So it's an excellent size. And what's awesome about this jacket, so this is from the 80s, is that this is dead stock. It was never worn. The lady that was selling it, she said it was her husband's. He was working for Safeway down in California, and his company gave him the jacket as a gift. Never wore it, just been sitting in the closet. So it is in mint condition. It is beautiful. Now, these jackets range in prices depending on what the team is. Obviously, if you found one like this and it was, let's say, the New England Patriots, it would probably go for $500. These ones these ones regularly go for around $150 just for whatever, a regular one. This is a great size, like I said, but it also is dead stock. It's brand new. It has not been worn, so that is going to up the value of it. So I'm hoping.
I believe that is also an old team logo. I don't think they use that anymore. So
yeah,
that's going to make a difference too.
So this jacket, I will probably price it really high and let it wait a little while till somebody wants to buy it. I'm hoping I get minimum 200. I'm going to try to get closer to 300. We'll see if that happens. But this is great condition. I asked them how much they wanted for it. She told me $20, and I said, "Please take my money now." I probably would have paid $50 for this, honestly. It would have been painful to pay that much for it, but I would have, because it would have been worth it. But I got it for $20, and I am stoked. All right, that's mine.
All right, so on to my two last things. This one is one that we teased, or Katie teased, with a picture. I am showing you a picture and not the item live because it's downstairs in my office and it weighs a bajillion pounds, and I'm not carrying it upstairs to where we are in Katie's office. Yeah,
all right, let me
share that one first. So we're going to share photos. I took some photos of it. So this is something that I found at that estate sale. This is called a pachinko machine. It's basically like a coin operated, it's almost like a pinball machine, except you're not really pressing plungers or anything like that to make it move. It's just, it is super heavy. It weighs about 40 to 45 pounds. And it is, the brand is called Mizuho. You find them frequently. They're actually, I shouldn't say you find them frequently. They're pretty rare. They're fairly hard to find. And what is most difficult to find is trying to find one in good condition. Usually the glass is cracked on the front. The plastic trays are missing or broken. And in the back is almost always gouged out, missing pieces broken off. This is in excellent condition. Now, I have no way to test it to see if it's working because it has to plug in electronically somewhere, but I am going to sell this. I am going to assume it is in working condition, and I'm going to describe it well in the listing. It came like this, and it came with a huge bunch of extra balls, little tiny metal pinball balls, and you can see them in there, and it came with a bunch of extra ones. I paid $35 for it. I'm going to sell it for probably around $300. I'm going to hold out for that.
Now, these pachinko machines, they originated, I think, in Japan, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they are horrific to ship. It does not have the key, by the way, but you can open it from the back. Again, the key is not the important thing either. But it's heavy as heck. A lot of people buy them. They restore them. In fact, we ran into someone a couple weeks ago at a garage sale that restores them. I wish I remember where the heck that guy lived because I tried to sell it to him. I'm going to have to ship it. But in any case, it's heavy. It's going to be 45 pounds packaged at least. I'm definitely going to send it FedEx ground, insure the heck out of it. And it's going to take me probably an hour to package it. But people pay the shipping and they do sell. And if you look up pachinko machine by Solds, you will see how much money they go for.
Yeah. And when we were at that big garage sale at the Silverton, we actually came across a booth that had two of them, and they didn't have any of the balls with them at all.
And they were roached out in the back.
Yeah, and they were selling them for $100 each. So
yeah, so I know that that's a good buy. I have bought and sold them before for a couple $100. None since I've lived here, but back on the East Coast, I've bought them before. So
let's get out of the screen share.
All right, and this is my last thing, and it's not only going to be a good score that I picked up. It's when we went back finally to that grouping of neighborhood garage sales. It's not just that it's a good score; it's also that it's a little bit of a teaching moment. And anybody, I do buy record albums, so this is a record album that I purchased for about $3 yesterday.
And this is the one that if you watched our little mini sourcing video, she was just in the process of looking this up, and we were trying to figure out if it was what it was and how much it would go for.
So here's the thing. I'm a rocker chick to begin with, and I recognized right away that this is Van Halen, if you can't tell by what it is. Not only is it Van Halen's first album, it's their album before they changed the logo. It is also a promo album. So it is a US promo.
It says down here.
And on one side, Van Halen was produced by Warner Brothers Records. So on one side, you have the Van Halen logo with a couple of songs. On the other side, it has the Warner Brothers Looney Tunes logo. Now, it's not in fantastic condition. It's definitely shelf worn and a little bit dingy on the outside. But the other thing that's amazing about it is that it is colored vinyl. Original colored vinyl sells very well. So this album, if it were signed, would sell for upwards of $1,000. But it is not signed. But I paid $3 or $4, and it will still sell for at least $200.
Yeah, we saw a recent one that sold, I think just like a couple weeks ago, sold for $200.
And there are none listed right now in the United States. So
yeah,
I've never seen it before either. And I will always buy, vintage albums. I'll buy rare albums. The reason why I grabbed this, I didn't even look. But I grabbed it because the old logo, I've never seen it before. And I grabbed it because I could see that it was red vinyl. And I knew it was definitely going to be worth more than $20 or $30, but I didn't think it was going to be worth $200 until I got in the car and looked it up. So it's not scratched. It's in great shape. This one I will play before I list it. Someone asked if I'd listen to all of them. No, I don't. There are no surface scratches on it. So I'm sure it's going to be fine, but I will play it first.
The things to look for, if you don't know the band, is if it's a promo, then it might be worth more. And if it's colored vinyl, then it might be worth more. So those are two things. Because, I mean, if you've been to a garage sale, you've seen a million vinyl records. There's tons and tons of them out there.
And 99.9% of them are worth crap.
But if it's a recognizable band to you, and then it's a promo and it's colored vinyl or one or the other, it's a good sign that it might be worth.
Yeah, so I've picked up some really good ones. I've picked up 3 albums worth over $100 each just in the last 3 weeks. Katie kept one of them. One of them I sold and took the offer for like $50 or $60 last week, just because it was a quick flip for me. And then this one I'm going to hold on to, especially since it's the highest one. The only one. I will probably list it for $3, but I would take around $2.
Awesome find, guys. All right. I hope you guys had a good day today doing the show with us. Thank you so much for coming and taking
just over an hour. We're trying to keep it inside of an hour for you guys. So
wow, we got 71 people watching right now. That's crazy.
Do you people have lives? It's Sunday afternoon. Get outside. It's nice out.
Yeah, they're hanging out here with us. Come on. And where they're at, it might be cold and rainy or
That's
snowy.
True. It's nice here.
So quit bragging about how nice it's here. It's only like 80 degrees, you guys. It's really terrible.
It's horrible.
It sucks. Anyway, thank you so much for coming and watching the show. We really appreciate it. And we will be back next Sunday to do another one. If you're not in the Boss group, please come join the Boss Facebook group. We're going to be doing our Boss Up and List virtual listing parties every Wednesday now. This week, Lorna is going to be here. She's coming from Washington to hang out with us and do lots of sourcing. And so on Wednesday, when we do our live show, it's actually going to be a haul video with Lorna. So that should be lots of fun. So that'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please come and join that show with us because it's going to be super fun. I'll also be making some videos with Lorna outsourcing. So there should be lots of fun content this week with Lorna as our guest. But again, thank you so much. And please, 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 if you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I am really excited that I'm getting closer to 1,000 subscribers, and that's really exciting to me because I've only been doing this for a short while. So if you guys could subscribe, that would be awesome. If you want to make sure that you are getting alerts when new content comes out, not only do you have to hit the subscribe button, but you should also hit the little bell icon that's next to the subscribe button, and that will let you know anytime a new video gets put up. But otherwise,
and if you liked it, click the like button.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, that's all right. You can down like it, whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Totally. I feel like the more haters I have, the more I've arrived, right?
Yeah. Hey, if you have haters, it means people care enough to talk about you, right?
It's
the way
true.
I think about it.
It's true. All right. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome rest of your weekend. Go sell a bunch. And if you haven't listed 2 items today, list 2. Just 2. If you don't have 2 items to list, get your 2 oldest listings, end them, sell similar, rework them a little bit, get 2 listings up. So every day you're doing something active on your store in your account so you can keep selling and making tons of money so you can go out and buy all the cat t-shirts that they make in the world because they're the best. All right. All right, thanks guys, and we will see you later.